Amelia Earhart, an accomplished aviator and pioneering female pilot, achieved worldwide fame through her daring flights, becoming an iconic figure for women in aviation. However, in 1937, during her attempt to circumnavigate the globe, Earhart and her navigator, Fred Noonan, disappeared over the Pacific Ocean. In a hypnosis session, Naomi delves into an astonishing revelation. Amelia ventured into a future life 4,000 years ahead of our time. This revelation promises to unravel a fascinating truth about Earhart's extraordinary journey and leaves us captivated by the mysteries that lie beyond our current comprehension.
Am I speaking with Amelia Earhart?
Yes, this is her.
Yeah, I'm very glad that your energy came through today, and we all want to find out, ask you what happened to you. You disappeared in 1937.
Yes.
While you're in the flight?
Yes, I was in flight and I hit a pocket or portal of energy. And my entire craft, it began vibrating at a very, very high frequency, and the molecules began to come apart and came in close contact with a UFO. It was a UFO craft was less than 500 yards from me, and I got caught in its energy field. UFOs are able to manipulate space-time and go in and out of past and present and future. So when I got caught in its energy field, I was given the choice to move with it. I'm given the opportunity to move with it. So I was propelled 4,000 years into the future, and I re-entered Earth's atmosphere.
Oh, this is it's Earth.
Yes.
Earth in the future.
Yes. I re-entered there and entered into the space-time continuum 4,000 years in the future.
So let's say the year right now is like 6,000 something.
Correct.
Okay. And can you tell me about when you entered this future Earth, your experience?
It's very different than you have now. Human beings have much enhanced psychic abilities. They communicate telepathically quite often. There are also, at this point, the hybrid children are living on Earth openly. So people know that there are hybrids and the communities are flourishing. It's much more harmonious. You've overcome the scarcity mindset. You are no longer living in materialistic scarcity.
And do people still have bodies?
Yes, they still have bodies.
So when you entered, so what do you took your body with you?
Yes.
So what happens when people see someone like you from 4,000 years ago? What's their reaction?
At this point, humans understand time travel. They know that the UFOs can travel back and forth in time, and they usually do not bring people back because it's usually a vibrational incompatibility, but I was vibrating at a state. I achieved a vibrational state in my life that I was able to make the transition fairly smoothly, and so they were able to bring me back and integrate me into where society is now.
Yeah, so how did that work, the process to bring you back?
When we entered the space-time continuum, they had to, first of all, slow my molecules down to a point that they were almost not moving at all in order to re-enter into that time frame. And then my vibrational level had to be raised. Now, if you force somebody's vibration to raise too quickly, you will kill them. It's just their body can't sustain it.
So what do they use to slow down the molecules' vibrations?
Their technology, they've been able to use nuclear fusion They understand how molecules work at the subatomic level, and they're able to basically manipulate how space and time merge together, to the point that it's a very different understanding of time than your scientists understand right now. It'd be very hard for you to understand it, but essentially by manipulating the way, by slowing down molecules.
And so they use some type of machines?
Yes, their technology.
So how do they know or notice that you are someone who did time travel?
Because when they arrived back on the UFO, they could tell that I'm not from this time period, in the way that I was dressed and the craft that I had. Again, time travel is open now, so people know that these things happen. So it was clear when I came in with the Greys that I was a person from the past.
So the Greys, they took you to do this time travel?
Correct.
So this is something that you made a soul agreement?
Yes.
And so what is the purpose for you to have this kind of agreement?
I helped people in this time period understand what was going on with the vibrational level of people on Earth, and could help them make their plan, because the Greys are they were humans at one point on a different version of Earth. And so, part of their plan with their hybridization is knowing exactly when to kind of re-enter into the timeline and begin the hybrid project. And they needed that information from me, and I was able to give them a lot of information about how human beings were operating at that time in 1937. Because as you'll notice, the UFO, the very strong period of UFOs began in the 1940s. So they were able to use a lot of the information that I had to help them understand their plan for when to re-enter into Earth's timeline and begin the hybrid project, and also prevent the nuclear war, because their presence helped prevent the Cold War.
I still don't quite understand the purpose for you to do this time travel.
When I entered into the atmosphere 4,000 years later, this is a period at which humans were making the Greys and future humans together.
Right.
We're making plans of when is the precisely right time to re-enter into Earth's timeline. And me being there, I was able to give them vital information about what is going on.
I see. So this is you're serving a purpose to the people there.
Yes.
In the future. But how about this will not benefit the people on Earth and right now?
It does benefit them, because then that helped the Greys know when to start their hybrid project, and help them. UFO craze started shortly thereafter, because the Greys were present. They were beginning basically the intervention and the laying the foundations of the hybridization project.
I see. I think I understand. So tell me about the life, in a future Earth. What do you do there? What is Earth look like?
It's much greener than it is now. We've successfully repaired some of the damage that was done by climate change. We've reduced emissions. The technology that we use is very green. There's no more use of fossil fuels. But people also, as I said, people are much more understanding of their telepathic abilities.
Do they still look like the human now?
Their eyes are a little bit bigger, but they're fairly similar.
The body is almost the same.
We're starting to get less dense at this point, but bodies are very similar.
So the eyes are bigger. I hear like when we raise our human consciousness, and so the eyes is become bigger.
Correct.
So there are no countries.
There are countries in the ways that people just identify that this is where they live, but it's one world government now. There's no separate governments.
I see. And so what else? What else is very, very different from the society we have right now?
Capitalism is over. Okay. You no longer use money as a way of exchange. It's more you engage in trade and direct sharing there's exchange of your gifts and your efforts that way. But you no longer use money. You no longer exploit people in the way that you do now. People are much less materialistic. Education is very different. People are learning outside.
That's what I heard.
You
what they're learning.
They're learning current scientific knowledge, how the universe works. They're also learning, very individualized how to develop their own gifts and their own talents, and showing what they have to offer others, because that's the foundation of this society now. It's everybody taking responsibility for what they can offer.
Okay, so now the question is, this Earth that you're talking about, is this the same Earth we're on right now, or is it different? It can be a different version of Earth, because we have a few different versions of parallel versions of Earth.
The version that I entered 4,000 years from now is the same version that you're on right now.
Okay. All right. So there's no economy.
Not in the way that you understand it now. There's exchange, but there's no money.
Where do people live?
They still have houses, but their houses are built much more efficiently, and with the materials are much greener, and electricity functions much more smoothly, and it's not wasted, and it doesn't have the same impact on the earth.
So what is let's say the houses are made of?
They're made of, it's a material that you're not really familiar with yet. It's hard to fully explain it. It's like a kind of a mix between crystal and some newly developed metals, because these are what are most efficient actually in terms of powering your living spaces.
So let's say if I want you to remember, want Kim as higher self to remember this, after the session, she can draw maybe a picture of the house.
You can try. I'm not sure what'll come through.
And it's hard to imagine. Is it the shape or the
shape is fairly simple. It's kind of like a cylinder. It's not like square blocks. It's like round, because that's
like a pod.
Like pods.
And there's no skyscrapers.
They're not needed anymore.
And people don't work.
People work through their contributions in terms of it's creativity. It's work that they want to do. It's not like, working at a pharmacy for 8 hours or something. It's things that their soul wants to do.
And do people live longer?
Yes, they're living well over years. 120 years is pretty average now.
So I know it's in the future. So let's say the time when you disappeared from here, so this is already, let's say, 80 years, right? Almost 80 years. So what's your age now? How we can understand that? It was 2023, today's time, right? It's about 70, 80 years later. So
yes, I didn't age in the same way that you would think of it after I traveled time. My aging process was slightly different.
So how does that work?
It's hard to fully explain. I am about 110 years old here.
Right.
So I probably will die in about 10 more years, or more. I'm fairly healthy.
Oh, you are old there.
But when they slowed down, I am old. When they slowed down my molecules for me to be able to travel time, that affected my aging process.
Oh, so you age slower?
Yes.
Oh, that would be exciting. So people will like to do this type of time travel. But so let's say time travel right now is not possible on Earth?
You have crafts, government currently has them, that are capable of time travel, but you don't know how to operate them, and you're not at a consciousness level yet to be able to use them, because it can be very dangerous. If you don't know how to use them correctly, you can cause
damage
to the body and to also the space-time continuum. You can make basically holes in it if you don't know how to
make holes. What do you mean?
You can do permanent damage to the space-time continuum. You can basically make areas of concentrated energy where nothing can travel in and out of anymore, and it can be very damaging. So you have to have the right consciousness level to be able to do this, and we want humanity to get there sooner rather than later, so that
so there's no or maybe there is a way, but let's say, is that possible for someone from the future Earth to come back?
Yes, and we do come back.
Uh-huh.
The grays are and the hybrids, they're on the future Earth, and then they move in and out. But you need the technology, you need the UFOs.
Oh. So the UFO is the transportation.
Correct.
Uh-huh. So let's say there's some time travelers on Earth, at least they claim they are. Do you know any of those people? Have you heard about them?
They claim they're from the future?
Let's say one person, I'm not sure if you have heard, he said he's from 2060. His name is KFK.
I have not heard of him.
But have you heard anyone from your future Earth went back?
They go back quite often, but they don't usually. I don't know of anyone who's stayed and is telling people that they're from the future. It's usually they come to visit for the purposes of the hybrid program and to help do soul work, do the, help people upgrade their DNA, things like that, and then they leave.
So they do some work and then come back?
Yes.
Do you have family?
Where I am in the future?
Yeah.
I have kind of chosen family that I've made, and I also met with some of my descendants. They were many, many generations in the future, but they were related to me.
You said you chose?
Well, family members that I made when I was here. I
You can also meet them in the future?
Basically, friendships that developed into being like my family when I came here, my soul family, basically.
Right. So can you tell us more on this part? So how can you have, what do you do to have your family there?
I don't have my family who was there from 1937. They're not here.
I understand. So when you entered future Earth, you, let's say, just developed some new friendship?
Yes, I was integrated into the society. As I said, they understand that there's time travel, and so I got in with a community of future humans who were specifically made themselves available to people who were coming in from different time periods. And I got to know them first, and that was the first couple of years that I was there. They helped me integrate because the changes were quite significant when I got there, and I needed an adjustment period.
Right.
So they helped me adjust to living in that society, and then I was able to branch out from there.
So how you communicate with each other?
We do still speak verbally, but if we want to communicate telepathically, we can.
I see. So what is that you need to adjust the most?
Much of it had to do with things like telepathic communication, which was completely foreign to me before I got there. I had to learn how to communicate in that way. And some of the technologies are also quite different. You have to get used to their different effects on your body.
I'm sure it's a very different technology. Can you tell us a little bit about the technology that time?
We have like teleportation devices now. That's one way that many of us travel, but training yourself to be able to use them are that's difficult.
Do you use any, I know we use computer. So any device like that?
We have devices, but they are linked directly to our consciousness. So we don't have to like type anymore. We can just like think and it appears.
So you just use the consciousness.
Yeah.
What do you eat?
We're able to take in energy directly, but we do still have to eat, and we eat almost an entirely plant-based diet. We treat animals very differently now. So we eat vegetables, fruits, grains, high vibrational foods. We're much healthier.
And also you get receive energies from the universe.
Correct.
What do you do? As your entertainment?
We still have things like music and art and plays. We still create what might be similar to what you consider TV, but the content is more valuable. It's inspiring.
It's not a commercial, isn't it?
Right. No, there's no commercials or anything like that. It's more about telling stories through the use of technology. But yeah, we love music. We enjoy each other's company. We're also people at this time are more centered in themselves, and so they take a lot of time directly in nature, giving exchange to the earth.
And there's very little crime or no crime.
We don't have crime in the way that you would understand it. If someone does something that they shouldn't have done, then there's a process for them to understand why what they did harmed others and for them to make amends. But we don't have like laws and crime and punishment in the way that you do.
Right. And how about the traveling to other planets or star system?
Yes, we can do that. Again, we have the ships, what you call UFOs, we just call them our crafts.
Yeah.
So if you want to, we are members of the Galactic Federation now, so there's representatives who are in space quite often. Now, not anybody can just go to another planet at any time, but if you have part of a mission, you're able to do that.
What type of mission?
We're now involved with helping other planets that are in the evolutionary process, raising their vibrations. So that's part of what we do in the Galactic Federation is, we meet with other planets that are at a similar level of evolutionary development and that we can help raise their vibration, bring them to the point, make the shifts that Earth made.
So only the people who have those missions will be allowed to have a craft.
Correct.
And so what the craft is being operated?
Say again?
So what is the ship, the engine of the ship is operated by the consciousness?
Correct. The ships themselves are actually what you could consider conscious. They're artificial intelligence embodied in the ships themselves. And then we communicate with them telepathically.
I see. So everything is conscious.
Yes.
And what kind of clothes you wear?
We all wear kind of white, kind of like tunics. Yep, white tunics is just for comfort.
But why all white? No other colors?
That's the easiest color to make. Some others who want to express themselves differently will wear other colors.
So, what is the population like? It's much less than.
It's about 5 billion.
All right, very good. And thank you for all your information.
You're very welcome.
And hopefully you enjoy the rest of your life in future Earth.
I think that I will.